see the kind of industries that are opening up.
This is Local Biz Now with Joe Vagnone, where your business matters. Local Biz Now.
You have to determine what is working, what isn't working.
Joe Vagnone is a respected business broker, helping individuals buy and sell businesses. Joe has successfully owned and operated many companies in a variety of industries. This is Local Biz Now. Because your business matters.
Yeah, you are listening to the #1 live talk business show in North Carolina, coming to you from our Burner Cigar Studio, home of the finest cigars and premium people in the world. Go to Burner Cigars in Birkdale Village and also in Denver on Highway 16. We hope to inspire, inform, and entertain you, because that's what we do here at News Talk WSIC, 105.9 FM, 100.7 FM, 1400 AM. I am Joe Vagnone. This is Local Biz Now, where we hope that your business matters. And we want to remind you, we've been going strong for over 11 years. Julie has updated my numbers. We have over 910 small business owners and community leaders that we have interviewed. We have well over 737 videos on our a YouTube channel. Go to my brand new Joe Vagnone Business Broker YouTube channel and subscribe. Please subscribe. All of those videos are there. There are some extraordinary videos, and today will be no exception, because we are live on the book, live on the tube, live on the X, live on the chain. And if you don't know Joe Talk, that is YouTube, Facebook, and we are also on LinkedIn as well. You can go there and listen to this live. And X. Excuse me. Thanks, Joe. I appreciate that. And the board operator is just aggravating me to no end that takes care of his show is JoJo. You will see him in about an hour. He is a sportscaster of WSIC. And as always, we have a co-host for the entire month, and this month it is Michael Clegg. You should remember him. He is CEO and managing partner of QWorks Group. He also is an expert in leadership and coaching. Michael, my friend, thank you for being here, buddy. I appreciate it.
It is fantastic to be back with you, Joe, and this new studio is awesome.
So you got to take a little drive to get to this new studio, don't you? I mean, it's a little drive for you.
It was a little drive. I'm glad I left early enough, because it was a little longer than I anticipated. I thought it was a holiday, so there wasn't going to be any traffic on 77, but that was pretty foolish of me to ever think that there would never be traffic on 77.
Right. Well, I appreciate you being here, buddy. Thanks you so much. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
So refresh everybody, let them know what QWorks Group is all about, and then we'll talk a little bit about your leadership coaching as well.
Sure. Yeah, so QWorks Group, been in business for 23 years now, and we do executive level placement, basically director level and up, mostly in the manufacturing, construction, engineering, and finance space. So from our perspective, we spend a lot of time in the Charlotte area. But we also have a unique niche where we focus in the German-American space. So we were just having a chat with our other host here, our guest, about German-American companies and how Charlotte has over, what did we say, 300?
300 plus.
300 plus German-American companies in and around the Carolina or the Charlotte area. So
how did you get in that niche? Because I wouldn't have thought there would be such a large need for that. Now that I meet you, I get it, right?
Yeah.
But I wouldn't have thought it until I met you.
I had no idea until I purchased the company from a German. So that was news to me at that point.
So I go to your website, and I really like your website. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's intriguing. And then I go to the leadership website, and I find you to be inspiring and motivating.
Thank you.
Put the two together, right? Because there's a little disconnect or divergence between the two of them. One's a broker that gets a transaction done and moves on, and another is this one that is an absolute innovator and motivator and inspiring. Connect the two for me.
Yeah, well, first, I'd love for you to repeat all the nice things you said, because my wife is listening. I don't know that she actually believes any of that, so that would be the first thing. But, I tell all of our staffing clients that to stop hiring for skills only to fire on behavior. And I always ask the question, think back to your last 3 or 4 or 5 terminations that you've had to make. How many of them were on performance versus really things that they said or did? And so that's the connector on leadership development, because if you're going to engage your employees, which we're talking about just massive, massive, massive decline in that space, and we have a leadership crisis because what do we know about the younger generations? They don't want to go into leadership.
Yeah.
So at some point,
That's a true statement, and it's a surprising statement because our generation, we want to be in charge.
yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely. I didn't want anybody telling me what to do.
That's right.
No, and it's the exact opposite. And I think some of that is just the trickle down effect. I mean, we have to understand when we showed up to work, you didn't bring your baggage. You didn't bring any emotions. You didn't bring
Absolutely
anything.
not.
That was deemed unprofessional. And today, very similar to the school systems, where they're inheriting students that some of them lack parental guidance, right? So they're going to naturally have behavior issues. In the workplace, now we're inheriting employees that have a lot of issues, especially now that mental health is coming to the forefront. So we in the business community are responsible for taking care of those things.
Michael, I'll go even further. Even now that I'm doing these Zoom calls, I'm still having to deal with, you think they could close a room, right, for 45 minutes and have a conversation with me, but somebody's going to walk into that room, a dog, a person, a kid, and they're going to act like it's no big deal. The professionalism is just kind of gone, right?
Professionalism as we grew up.
That's
in.
right. That's right. That's
And I
great.
think that's
Because they
important.
see no problem with
That's
it.
correct. It's the world that, I mean, look, first off, it's hard to believe it's been 5 years since COVID and the world shut down.
It is hard to believe.
That's really hard to believe. But with all that being said, things were trending in that direction anyhow prior to COVID. COVID
I
just
think that's because of
accelerated it.
cell phones.
Agreed.
Because we were doing business in odd places anyways.
Yep. Well, the need to be face-to-face, the need to hop on a plane now. I mean, just think about it from a business perspective, how much cost savings really, truly is happening in some of these. I mean, people don't even want to be in buildings anymore.
Michael, not only costs, but time.
Sure.
I can do 3 Zoom meetings in a day where before I might meet with one person
right.
a day.
Absolutely. Especially if they weren't in your backyard.
That's right. That's right.
That's exactly
Well, I
right.
just couldn't even gear up for those face-to-face presentations, right?
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
I also like that the Zoom room, I can kind of control what I want them to see of me.
Yeah.
Where normally if I'm going to have a meeting, most of the time I'm going to go to them and they're going to be in control of that meeting. So for me, it's actually helpful.
Yeah. No, I think it's a good thing. I do believe that it's about having a hybrid environment rather than a remote environment, because here's the thing from an employee perspective that a lot of people don't think of: out of sight, out of mind.
Yeah.
If you've got individuals that are never near around the people that are going to be doing the promoting, it is tough if you're in a larger organization to get noticed.
Interesting. So let's take a break and we'll come back.
Sounds great.
You are listening to Local Biz Now. I am Joe Vagnone, where your business matters. We're going to be right back. I want to make sure you know that Michael Clegg is spectacular, marvelous, unbelievable. How's that, Michael? Is that going to work for your wife?
I think she'll like that.
I also want to remind everybody we are live on Facebook if you want to chit-chat with us. We'll be right back. Okay. We good? Or it didn't work? We're still live on the radio? Or hey, if you're going to throw this big thing in front of me, you don't have to go through all that. I got you. Okay.
I didn't know that you were also doing coaching. Interesting. Yeah.
We'll definitely have to catch up again.
Yeah. Yeah.
We probably know a lot of
So,
people.
No,
as you both know, I'm sure Julie put you two together for a reason.
Yeah.
So you two should share contact information.
Yeah,
That's what this
absolutely.
show is all about, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
yeah, it's really interesting. Yeah.
Okay.
That's so true what you're saying. Yeah, absolutely a decline in willingness to lead.
Right.
No, it's a different.
It's a big problem.
It's a different.
So
world.
JoJo, where does Patrick do his show at now? He doesn't quit. So let me get this straight.
NLP.
Patrick kicked me out of my spot in Cornelius.
Yeah.
We definitely ought to chat.
So he could have a comfortable spot to do. Is that what happened?
Organizations are going to have to start jumping on understanding.
Yeah, especially the new generation.
That is the most no account, no good for nothing, aggravating Kardashian of Lake Norman I've ever met in my life.
You have to.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, but okay, leaders.
So, Michael, you got something we're going to talk about?
You can do something refurbishable.
1 minute. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Okay.
The
You
last
got something
time,
we're going to talk about?
The last time we went down this road, you said you wanted to come back to self-awareness and leadership.
Let's do it. Okay. I mean,
Yeah,
you
no,
understand.
Yeah, great.
I didn't remember what was but
Totally.
That's good. Let's
I wrote
do
it down. I remembered.
Now, I need a countdown when I'm coming back, right?
Yes. So what'll happen is volume down. The music starts.
Got it.
Give you the thumbs up.
Got it. Okay. Okay.
All right, guys. We've got 10 seconds. Here we go.
So the music is not my start. You are.
Here we go. And fight on
Yeah. You are listening to the #1 live talk business show in North Carolina, coming to you from my Burner Cigar Studio, brand new, shiny, still got this brand new smell. If I could just get Joe out of here, it would have a new smell to it. You are listening to Local Biz Now, where your business matters. I am here with my co-host, Michael Clegg. Michael is the CEO and managing partner of Q Works Group and also a leadership coach and keynote speaker. Michael, my friend, thank you for being here, buddy.
No, thanks for having me, Joe.
So, you're not allowed to come here and be the co-host unless you bring something that we're going to chit-chat about. I normally tell my co-host, bring something from the Google, but you like to write stuff for the Google, so you are the Google. So what are we going to talk about?
Self-awareness. We had touched on that at the very end of the last show that I was on, and you wanted to come back to self-awareness. And one of the things that I had mentioned that at first I think it shocked you, but I gave you the data on self-awareness that one of the largest studies on self-awareness, 95% of the leaders in the self-awareness study raised their hand to say that they had high self-awareness, but the study itself actually showed that only 10 to 15% actually have.
So I think I know. I think I know everything about myself, right? And you're saying, probably not, Joe.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think I know what you and Harm think about me, and you're saying, probably not, Joe. Right? Is that where we're headed here?
That's not just a Joe thing. That's a all of us thing. Certainly.
How can that be?
Yeah.
Like, how can I have a relationship with you and think I know, right, what you think of me?
Yep.
And in fact, every choice and decision that I make, even my facial expressions, are based on what I think you think of me.
Yeah.
And I'm probably wrong.
Some of the time, certainly.
Well, I probably part of the top 10% that knows, you understand.
That's what I was thinking.
Harm's over there nodding. That ain't the case, but okay.
Yeah, you know.
But I'm saying the point is 90% of us think we know how other people perceive us, but they do not.
We can only go off of what people tell us. And so from a leadership perspective, the higher you go in the organization, the less feedback you get. One, because people are worried about giving bad news to the boss.
Be afraid to tell you I disagree with you. Or...
Exactly, right? So that's part of it. And so not only the further you go, but most likely if you're moving up in organizations, you've had a level of success in your career. So you think what got you here is good enough, right? And so when you lose that curiosity mindset, when you lose that about wanting to continuously improve,
right,
that's harmful because we all change. We change every day as people. We really, truly do because we have different interactions with different people. And so as we move through the corporate ladder, if you will, we get less of that feedback.
You know, it's interesting as you're talking, I'm thinking through this, and if I have a boss, right, now granted, that may not be something I've ever done, but I would ask much more what they think of me than if I am the boss.
That's right.
Right. And so it's once you get to this leadership role, that feedback stops coming.
Yeah. Well, think about it this way also. People struggle with the differences in being nice and being kind. Being nice, really, truly, we think, well, I don't want to give Joe that negative feedback or that constructive feedback because I don't want to hurt his feelings. What they're saying really is that I don't want to give Joe that feedback because it's going to make me uncomfortable. So that's a big deal. Being kind is actually giving Joe the business, giving Joe exactly where he is, the things he says, the things he does, and how that impacts other people. That's being kind. I can't tell you in the staffing business, and you talked about this intersection earlier, what is the intersection between staffing and leadership?
Right.
I can't tell you the number of people who have been terminated at a surprise only to find out in the moment that they got terminated what they've been doing wrong. And that's the difference, is that people in their business have been trying to be nice to them, not being kind, and giving them the opportunity to, one, learn what they're doing wrong, but secondarily, to actually course correct it.
You know, it's funny you say as you're talking, I'm thinking about years ago, I learned the restaurant business from some Greek guys, and we'd go to a lot of different restaurants and eat. And if we were friends with the people restaurant we were eating at, we would tell them mistakes that they had made or things they needed to correct. But if we weren't friends with the restaurant owner, we wouldn't say a word.
That's right.
We would leave and let them continue to wallow in their mistakes.
That's why, and I think this is what we're talking about next week, if I'm not mistaken, is I believe that's why trust is the foundation. Because look, if I care about someone, genuinely care about someone, I'm going to want what's best for them. We've all been there and seen the individuals that's got the spinach in their teeth. And there's a study with that as well. This individual walked throughout the entire day with spinach in their teeth because someone didn't want to give them, they didn't want the discomfort of telling them they have spinach in their teeth. That sounds like a silly example, but it's true. Think about how many times you've sat there with someone, there's something in their teeth and you didn't tell them.
And you're right. I'm going to tell the person I care about. I'm going to look the other way if I don't know that person or don't have a strong relationship with them.
That's exactly right.
I'm just as bad as everybody else, Michael.
Yeah, that's right. We all are. We all are. And sometimes we tell the people we care about too much.
Right. Well, I guess that's
As my
another
wife's
story.
At home, nodding her head. Yep, that's right.
Okay, so how do I do this then as a leader? How do I gather enough information in a way that makes my staff feel comfortable telling me so that I can make sure it's working to the betterment of myself? Because I have to assume if it's better for me, it's better for the organization.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, we've established the foundation of trust. That certainly has to happen. But there's something that most people ask for feedback, genuinely. Like even leaders ask for feedback. So,
can we agree bad leaders don't?
Likely bad leaders do not. But even if they do, they're asking for feedback. That doesn't elicit someone to give you the truth. That typically says,
tell me how good I am.
That's correct. Like, well, you did this great, Joe. You did that well, Joe.
Right.
But asking for people's advice, so it's how you asking it very differently. Asking them for advice on how they could be better is a very, very different angle to come in from. And I think it will elicit different response from the people that you're having the conversations with.
You know, it's funny. I hear you talk, and I do this with Julie all the time. Because we might talk, 4 times in a day, right?
Yep.
And then the 5th time I'll say, no, okay, now listen, I really want to hear what you think. Like, I want to make sure she gets. I genuinely want to know what she thinks, right? And that is a different conversation. And if I don't prep it on the front end, then the result I get back is different because she's thinking it's a normal conversation. We're just trying to get through a particular topic or subject, and, it's not as important to her if whether we take Joe's direction or her direction. But if I say, I really need to know what you think because I'm not sure right here at this moment, I need to know what you think. And so that is, but that requires me to prep the conversation.
Well, you also
before
have
I
that
ask.
foundation of a great relationship with Julie because you guys have been together how long?
That's probably going on 10 years now.
Right. So that's helpful. Imagine having a new Julie.
Right.
And then having to start it entirely over.
Well, no, that was just 9 years of fighting, but that's for another show. I'm sure you got a whole chapter on that. Well, no, you bring up an important point. I am a firm believer the best leaders are teachers. They are trainers. I believe my role is to teach the people around me. If you're not doing that, I find it hard that you can be a really good leader. Are you comfortable with that statement?
Absolutely. Leader's number one responsibility is to develop others, period. Because if you're developing others, everything else takes care. Everything else falls into place. Everything else from a performance perspective happens. Now, that doesn't mean that it's going to be a steady incline at all times. That's not realistic to think of. But generally speaking, if you are constantly improving the people that you are surrounded with, the better off you're going to be. I think it was Steve Jobs who said it best is, I don't hire smart people so I can tell them what to do. I hire smart people so they tell me what to do. And that's a big difference.
So those people out there listening, this sort of middle management, which all I've read right now, middle management is the worst place to be right now. Yeah. You're really stuck in a tough spot.
There's a lot on their plate.
What advice would you give them?
Yeah, look for people development opportunities. Absolutely. If you're in an organization and you're not being people developed or have an opportunity to have people development, look for an organization that cares about that, because those are the organizations that are going to have that sustained growth over a period of time. But at the end of the day, right, in order to be, excuse me, and this maybe actually our guests can jump into this a little bit. If you're going to be, in order to be the best leader, you have to be the best version of yourself first. There are a lot of people that work on leadership and the KPIs and the business, the tactical aspects of the business that do not work on themselves. And that's why I bring up self-awareness, because it requires deep introspection, right? You have to know internally what you're good at and what you're not good at, because if you don't, it's really where you struggle.
It's funny. I think my older brother. I've said for years he's one of the best national sales managers I've ever met. Yep. And you hit on, I think, why. He absolutely takes care of and trains and wants the people around him to do better.
That's correct.
And they feel it and see it, and then they feed off of it. And then in return, they want him to look good as well.
That's correct.
And that's not easy to do when you might have 150 people that are looking to you for leadership.
Yeah, the more people you have, the more difficult it is, because you cannot replace proximity. That's what I spend a lot of time with my clients talking about, is proximity with their leaders. And what that means is, and we talked about this a little bit a few months ago with Julie, every leader needs to have one-on-ones with their people.
Oh, that's right.
Period.
You upset me with that one. That's right. I remember that. Right.
But you and Julie also came to the recognition, the realization that, actually, we speak several times every single day.
Right.
That's important.
And so I really do appreciate you giving this advice. If somebody wanted to reach you, how can they do it, my friend?
Yeah, LinkedIn is probably the best way to catch me. It's just Michael B. Clegg, Clegg.
And on a personal note, you do some coaching, right?
I do.
Talk just a little bit about that.
Yeah, well, I do business coaching, and then I think you're referring to high school football.
I was.
I coach high school football as well. So it's been a blast. Done that for almost a decade, but just the blessing to coach and serve those young men.
Thanks, Mike. We're going to take a break. We'll come back and introduce our guests.
Sounds great.
You are listening to our local Biz Now. I am Joe Vagnone, where your business matters. We'll be right back.
That clock is a miracle. Great to have.
So now, if you two will switch, because Harm, we got to get you. We got to get you your short, right?
There we go.
Now, Michael, don't forget you are co-host, so ask any question that you want. Interrupt as much as you want.
Not too aggressive, please.
Okay, let's set these
Good.
Julie has got your LinkedIn information onto the book.
Excellent. Thank you.
I don't know.
They were probably
something.
close to, if not.
So Julie said something on Facebook which was interesting. She said that every generation defines professionalism a little bit differently. Would you agree with that?
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think.
I never gave that any thought till this moment.
Yeah, well, once again, think about, first and foremost, our parents went to an organization and stayed there, got the gold watch, retired after 30
and you had
years.
To wear
the whole
white shirt.
Exactly.
That was
Loyalty.
professionalism.
That's right.
Loyalty till death.
When we joined, when we got in the workforce, a little bit that was still there, but the opportunity as we're moving into the digital era started changing. Technology was really allowing us to make more choices or have more choices in the workplace. But think about just if someone in your family passed away, you had 3 days of bereavement and your butt was expected to be back on day 4. Now there are mental health days. There are, it's, well, I need a mental health day. Well, you have vacation and you have a sick day. You choose. Well, but I really need a mental health day. Like, you're hearing that more frequently, and not to make light of that. I mean, there's a lot going on, and COVID has taken a lot away from us as humans.
I mean,
a funny question. You work a lot with German companies, European companies. So that kind of opportunities, possibilities, that is standard.
Yeah.
When you need a break for a mental situation, you take a break.
Yep.
I think that's also one of the biggest problems we have over here, that there is not a lot of time to dwindle down, to really get your vacation in a proper way. 3 weeks here is a crazy, but in Europe they think 3 weeks is the way to unwind.
Yeah.
Totally different.
Very.
30 seconds till back.
30 seconds. I still got the same intro going. I'm all good, right? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm also going to talk about fear. That's also good.
Love it.
Yeah.
Harm, are you ready to go?
Oh yeah, always.
Yeah, wait till I tell you what my wife just said to me.
Yeah. You are listening to the #1 live talk business show in North Carolina. We hope to inspire, inform, and entertain you, because that's what we do here at News Talk WSIC, where your business matters. I'm here with my co-host, Michael Clegg. He will be with me for the entire month. Michael, my friend, thank you, buddy, for being here, and I appreciate the first half of the show. It was great.
And thanks for having me, Joe.
And now my friend, whether he will admit it or not, has been a co-host and been here before. Harm Stratman has been here. He is CEO, Core 4 Business Coaching. Harm is a favorite of mine because he is one of my favorite people on the planet.
Thank you.
Thank you for being here, buddy. I
Wow.
appreciate it.
Wow.
You are one of very few people that have hosted this show. You understand that, don't you?
That's true.
That means
it's true. Yeah.
That means it doesn't matter what I think. It means Julie just likes you. That's right. So hang on, Michael, because we have no idea where this conversation is going now, right?
I'm excited.
So Harm, I said as you walked in the door to our new studio, wow, man, it's been a while. And you said 1 year.
That's correct.
I find that
I
hard
was
to
so
believe.
disappointed.
Yeah, no, I get it.
That it was that soon, or?
I get it. I get it. I got a lot of family members that say that same thing. You know,
So you're used to it. Yeah.
I am used to it. Well, Harm, thank you for being here, buddy. I really do appreciate it.
welcome. Yeah.
So before we get started, tell everybody what Core 4 Business Coaching is all about.
It's business coaching for small and medium-sized companies. It's based on the philosophy of 4+2, but that's another discussion. We can talk about it later. What I'm doing, I'm growing small and medium-sized companies in a fast and a profitable way.
So before we dig into it, where are you getting the majority of your clients? What's your lead generation look like?
That's a good one. It's all over the place. It's the majority is referral and networking, basically. Yeah, that's about it. Yeah. Not so much digital. No, stop doing things like drip marketing. It doesn't work anymore, I think. Yeah, that's.
So Michael was like drooling when he heard your accent. You were saying he was thinking,
He thought I
wow,
was
this guy
from-
might be able to help
let's
me.
Be honest. You thought that I was from Denmark.
I-
Because it's a funny thing.
You said, you
overall.
look at me like it was an insult.
No, I
I
don't know.
wasn't trying to insult you.
I don't know whether you thought Greenland or something. That's a hot thing at the moment.
I'm
No.
just curious where you come from because we might want to be taking that country over too, and you might be able to help us.
I gave you last time in the old studio some tulips. You remember that?
I still have those on my desk.
You do.
And something else you gave me, like what was it? I can't remember exactly what it was.
Was it a candy?
I want to say it was like
I
a
gave you
horse
a
or
lot of
something. I
stuff.
can't remember what it was, but
Yeah,
anyway.
I gave you a lot of stuff. Yeah.
Now I know
yeah.
what to do to host the show.
That's right.
I got to
There
bring
you go.
bring
You have
bring
to
the host
bribe them
stuff.
basically
That's right.
with small giveaways.
We do like little gifts, so there's no question about it. But I'm sorry, I forgot.
Okay, so I'm from the Netherlands.
Netherlands.
The place where
What
30%
happens? Because I
there's
don't
a
know
lot
what
of stuff
happens in the
happening over
Netherlands.
there. 30% of that country is below water level. 18.5 million people, and it fits about 4.5 times in North Carolina. And there are 4.5 million cows, sheep, horses, and pigs. And I had years ago. You work a lot with German companies. I worked for German companies, and so I had a presentation to do. I made a calculation. That amount of animals is creating about 4.5 inch of shit every year. And the joke.
This is a respectable show,
I know.
Harm. Okay.
Manure. You call it manure.
Manure,
So what we are doing there is we inject it a little bit in the ground. The rest of it is being dried, and we sell it to the Germans. So thing. I know it's funny.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. Michael, I'm sorry, but this is what we got to put up with
all
because
good.
Julie wanted you two together. You wanted, for some
I like it.
reason,
It's good.
in her wisdom, she wanted you two to be connected.
I trust Julie.
Okay.
Always trust Julie. But anyway, so that is the Netherlands. Yeah, it's a small country. Yeah, that's where I'm born and raised.
So is your wife born and raised there as well?
Yeah, also, yeah.
So they also raise beautiful women because
They
your wife
do
is beautiful.
6 feet tall,
Yeah.
that kind of long legs.
Yeah.
Slim.
Yes.
No, we're not going for less.
She definitely makes you look a whole lot better when
I
you're
know,
standing
that's
next
the
to
reason
her.
we are still married.
That's how you know who the good salespeople are.
That's right. You're exactly right. You're exactly right. So, so Harm, I'm curious. You and I have been talking a lot since the pandemic.
Yep.
Things have continued to change. What normal is still isn't sure yet. Michael and I were talking a little bit about the whole Zoom seems to be settling in as something, in my case, small business clients would have never let me talk to them about buying or selling a business over Zoom. And now that is our
not
first
that
communication.
supposed-
I mean, they don't even want a phone call. They prefer a Zoom instead of a phone call.
Yeah.
That's changed my business dramatically. And for me in a positive way. What types of things are changing that you see in a business setting? Because it, like Michael said, it's been about 5 years now, so there's plenty of time for us to kind of settle in. But I don't know that we've settled.
I don't see so much the COVID period popping up as a problem. What I see more is at the moment the fear of missing out. What I see is that a lot of business owners, small business owners, they jump from nothing on operational marketing companies and let them do the positioning, and they basically lose a lot of their face basically because external companies cannot really write your business plan.
Sure.
And that's what I'm seeing a lot, the fear of missing out. And
It's so funny you say that because the minute you say that, I'm thinking about when I when I bought some Bitcoin.
yeah,
I know nothing about it. And my wife said, "What are you doing?" I don't know, but I just thought maybe we needed to have some.
yeah.
So you're right. And you could apply that to any choice or decision we've made the last few years.
Yeah.
I don't know, but let me just try and keep up.
Yeah. And it is going so fast. The technology is changing a lot. It's think about AI. That's a subject on itself. And a lot of people have no clue what's going on in the AI world. So they're getting nervous about it, and they call external companies. And before they know it, they have extremely expensive contracts. And nothing will change for their results.
And Harm, the truth is, even if I think I know what's going on in digital and that sort of stuff, they're going to change an algorithm or something, and all of a sudden, what I thought I knew, I no longer know.
Yeah.
I mean, that literally could. It's almost as if they're trying to keep us guessing, busy, and that is creating a major problem for small business people.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So your statement, keeping up, is a really interesting
And
statement.
keep studying. I think that the worst thing you can do as a small business owner is stop studying. You know, it doesn't. Okay, it also tells something about my age, I suppose. I still remember. I'm an old ships officer. So when I was on the nautical college in Amsterdam, we were fooling around with the first generation of Commodores and Apples with a black-white television on top of it. You remember with a floppy cassette.
Oh, yeah.
And later on, whatever.
Right.
So it's the same situation. It's happening, and some people on Chat GTP, whatever, go and look and check it out. Play with it.
Yeah, I read something recently. I think it was one of the business magazines, Fortune, or might have been Forbes, that we're still under 35% of people that actively use AI, which is insane to me.
Oh, let me tell you something. I have not written something in my life that my wife or my Julie has not had to check and proofread and correct for me. And the minute Julie made a mistake of teaching me how to get the chat, I renamed it the Terminator, by the way, just so you know.
Cool. Yeah.
I told my wife and Julie they are obsolete and no longer needed because now I can go to the Terminator and they can rewrite my emails. It has changed my life because I'm a guy that is not skilled at writing.
Yeah.
So for me, I'm surprised to hear, Harm, that small business people aren't embracing that in a way that would help them.
And when they are embracing it, they do it in a wrong way. When you ask the general chat language models as a plumber, give me a nice business plan for a plumber, you get a generic business plan. Yeah. So you have to do it in a smarter way. You have to create your own language model, and you have to learn how to write those prompts.
Yeah, engineering the prompts.
Generic stuff.
Absolutely.
And in a few years from now, everyone looks the same. You know,
Right.
and a plumber, I hope I don't offend any plumber. That's not my intention.
Go ahead and offend somebody.
But okay, so every plumber is saying my connections are not leaking. Yeah, I hope so. So let's let's not start with that kind of a nonsense because no one will read it anymore. Be smarter.
And Michael, this goes back to leadership. It's leaders' job to keep challenging their people and themselves as this stuff starts to come about.
I think that's one of the issues with small businesses. I mean, a lot of these business owners are tasked with so many things working in the business that they can't work on the business.
Yeah, Harm, this sounds easy, buddy, but I got 10 other things going on. And now I got to learn the Terminator and how it works.
Okay, but in your case, take that one cigar, and every day, as long as the cigar is burning, you dig in a piece of AI.
See, and that's why I love Harm, because he is right. He does find a way to. What a great coach, because he's right. That's when I read. That's when I'll take the time to listen. You're absolutely correct.
Yeah.
I hate that Harm knows me.
Oh.
You know, Harm is a good leader. Harm can figure me out. You know, that bothers me. You know, I like to be kind of, guessing.
Okay. So next time I'm sitting here, we're going to do some checking on AI. I love that.
Let's take a break, and we'll be right back, buddy. You are listening to Local Biz Now. I am Joe Vagnone, and you are listening to the #1 live talk business show with over 900 interviews and 737 videos on YouTube. Go there and check it out. Joe Vagnone Business Broker, Joe Vagnone Business Broker on YouTube. We'll be right back.
It turned off.
Looks to me like William has done something wrong. That's what
Facebook,
it looks like to me.
Facebook is off.
Say what? And refresh it. All right, let me see. Okay. All right. So it's not showing the video, I don't think.
It's up now. Just came back on.
Is it back on?
Yeah.
Okay. You can let Wilton know that I'm holding him responsible for the failure. What'd you say? I don't give a darn. Okay. Harm, is there something you want to talk about, buddy?
Yeah, we can talk. Yeah, I think that's a great thing to talk about. I think fear in we talk about communication in companies.
Sure.
One of the big things I think is still an issue in American companies is the fear.
Absolutely.
So when you talk about leadership, and you can expect that your employees are honest about you, honest about your strategy. Do you know, Joe, that 90% of the budget of the business plans are not executed in the US? 90%.
Really?
Yeah, that's a shocker, including Wall Street.
I would say
What do I
what
got?
percentage actually have a business plan too?
Yeah, no, that's but so,
Yeah.
but
Okay. Take the conversation any way you want to go.
yeah, okay. So when you talk about loyalty, you talk about patient awareness, and you.
Yeah. I mean, I get it as a business. I'd love to get.
Joe is the most aggravating man on the
Yeah,
planet.
but you can always look for when it is too expensive. You can find a route somewhere
All
in
right,
between.
guys, here we go. 15 seconds. I'll play the music.
Yeah. You are listening to the #1 live talk business show in North Carolina. I am Joe Vagnone. This is Local Biz Now, where your business matters. Michael, now are you ready to say that when your time has come?
I think so.
Because you kind of, the last time you were here.
I got to work on the business radio show. Yeah.
You'll get it. You'll get it. You'll get it. I am here with my friend, whether he will admit it or not, Harm Stratman. He is the owner of CEO of Core for Business Coaching. And also that is Michael Clegg, CEO, managing partner of QWorks Group, also a leadership coach. Gentlemen, thank you both for being here. I appreciate it.
Yeah. Thanks for having us.
So Harm, you and Michael, y'all kind of, getting all warm and cozy over there,
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
chit-chatting. You guys got a lot of things that are in common. Is it because of the leadership or is it because of the whole German connection? Because Michael and I talked, foreign European countries, they operate business and think about business completely different. I mean, they are forever. Like when they hire somebody, it's their thought that they're going to be with them for the rest of the life of the country. I mean, company.
Yeah. So in some cases, when you take countries like France, you don't get rid of people.
Yeah.
No way. You hire them, and you almost have to murder them. I'm not but that's about it. It's really bad to get even the worst employees out of your company. That's for sure not the way to go.
How do I operate an efficient company
but that's
like
the
that?
extreme. But that's the extreme on the negative side.
Right.
I think that first of all, I like to say that being in the US, one thing I really love of the US is the entrepreneurship. And that's something you really miss in Europe. Entrepreneurship is almost a dirty word. Okay, today we've got a new president, so entrepreneurship will also jump again, I suppose, I hope.
Yeah.
Right.
But the way of doing business here and business in Europe, and you work a lot with Austrian and German companies, it's based on another way of communication. I was managing director in the Netherlands and in Belgium, and being a managing director, which is about the same as president, CEO of companies, you make a decision and you have to expect that people are marching into your office and say, Harm, this is BS. You cannot do that. Now, can you envision that over here?
Yeah.
No, not really. I was president here of a company, and you had the power. And I think I just said to Michael, fear is a big thing we have to work on. You can be aware of yourself as a leader, but when people are still fearing their job, whatever you do, you always get yes sir, no sir.
Mm-hmm.
And that's exactly...
And you don't get that in Europe?
No, because people are not afraid for the job. So you get a much open... and people stay here working because, I have to work from 8 to 5 and nothing to do, so I do whatever. It looks really active.
Yeah.
And that's not the case over there. It's a different show, and that would be so great to get to a more solid, trustful relationship between employees and employers.
Yeah.
That would be a big step forward.
So, are you suggesting if I were to try and go to Europe and open up a small restaurant, I would have a very difficult time because what I think I would be able to do, I wouldn't be able to do compared to what I'm used to in the States?
No, no, I'm not saying that. But when you have an employee, you need, what Michael said you need to have every 3-4 months a discussion with that employee. What is the great stuff? What is the negative stuff? What did you do as a manager in a wrong way? Critic.
And you're saying if I don't like them, I can't get rid of them.
No, because is that a reason to get rid of someone?
Oh, yeah. I'll come up with something if I don't like it.
But you just proved to me that I'm right.
Yeah, he did. No, it is interesting because all he's talking about is the term psychological safety, which ultimately is back into the trust bucket.
Yeah.
Right.
So, I mean, it is the one thing that has been proven over and over again. If an organization leads the way with psychological safety, it will be successful.
Psychological safety.
Yeah.
Interesting. I've not heard that one.
That's really nice.
Yep.
Yeah, I like that.
Harm, where do you want to take this conversation, buddy? It's all yours. Is there a direction you want to go?
Yeah, absolutely. So fear was one thing. Learning organization. When I'm using the 4+2 is a model I'm using, and it is based on a long-term study of 10 years. One of the big outcomes was that there are 4 steps, 4 silos of activities. You have to do it, which is culture.
Mm-hmm.
I think you liked it also.
Yep.
Culture, it's strategy, it's structure, and execution. And when you think about execution, during the break, I made that comment. 90+% of the American companies don't execute their business plan. And Michael said, if they have a business plan, exactly. So think about it. We are spending a fortune to make budgets and business plans if we do it, and then we don't execute it. So when you talk about success in companies, dear business owners, please start with execution of what you are planning to do, because that's the first big step forward. And I'm not even talking about leadership and it is so much needed innovation.
But that is leadership. If you are doing that planning, that's a big step towards being a leader.
Yeah, but it also has to do with the feedback. When you have a business plan, you build it up with your employees. They should be part of it, and you have to roll it out, and you have to discuss it. When there is no healthy feedback system, 360 in one way or the other, you think as a leader that you're driving a really fast car, but basically the steering wheel is not connected to the front wheels.
It goes back to the feedback, right? And for whatever reason, in leadership in our country, we've gone away from asking very specifically for very detailed feedback and or advice, and it's necessary. We have to. Otherwise, what is the feedback mechanism? How do we know that we are making the right decisions? Because of what we did last year, I think there's been plenty of opportunities to prove how bad that is, right? What happens in the past does not dictate what you're going to get in the future.
So Harm, where he's headed with this is what makes me uncomfortable for small business people planning, which is it's really hard to plan. I know that tomorrow will be something I don't know. Well, right, that's right. Okay, this is not about making fun of Joe.
But I can send you I can send you a PowerPoint, 2 PowerPoint sheets, and you can make it really simple. You can make it as difficult as you can. What I did, I took all my experience over all the years, which are a few only, and I made 2 PowerPoints,
right?
And to make it easy. The point I want to make is start planning, because it's not new. Failing to plan is planning to fail. That's a great phrase you have to use. And the planning process, even when you would not make a nice PowerPoint of it or whatever, 30 pages Word document, start with a piece of paper, start to plan. Put some dates in your calendar, start to execute. It's a start, but doing nothing is awful.
So if you have an organization, right, that you're walking into as a business consultant, coach, that
What's the difference between a consultant and a coach?
that has never had success with business planning.
Yeah.
What's your approach with them?
Sit down with the owner and start from scratch.
Mm-hmm.
Getting a lot of companies, they don't even have a real vision and mission, as you know.
Or if they do, they don't pay any bit of attention to it.
They had to do it for the bank somewhere in the past, and another coach, and they park it somewhere and whatever. And so start from scratch. And for me, the most important part is also creating a market dominating position. That is a unique positioning of the company. Take the same plumbers. Why would I go to a plumber A or B when they all plumb great?
Mm-hmm.
What's the difference?
You know, to your point, Harm, I can remember over 4 years ago creating a small plan for the end of the year. I remember writing it up, laughing at myself. There's no way I'm going to be able to get all this done, blah, 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 blah. And I remember the details putting on it. And I remember every year for 2 years after that, looking at that list, getting angry. I didn't complete these things, right? And then on the third and a half year, I realized what I was doing every year was notching away at one of them. Not 5 or 6 of them, one of them. And then I look back and realize, you know what? Julie and I are the #1 small business broker
built the business
in the state, because every year I was doing one of the 5 or 6 things I said I was going to do, right? So the plan might not be complete,
but start.
But it's start, right?
Yeah, start.
Interesting.
Chase many rabbits, catch none.
Well, also, Michael, I don't want to tell you, I kind of learned that from Harm, so I hated to give him that little plug, but that's what happens. So Harm, the small business people that are out there thinking, gosh, I could use some help. Walk me through what a good profile is of somebody you could help.
Any small business owner. For me, it's all the same. They all have the same problems. The solutions are not all the same, that's for sure. But it's, for me, the same approach, step by step, using a 4x2 program, a smart piece of software that I'm using to go through the motion step by step, so everyone has a clear vision and a feeling what's going on. That's really important in those changing processes. And the big joke of it, no cure, no pay. Because no one should pay a coach when they are not successful, period.
Love that.
Because I can give you a list of whom I have and friends I have.
Oh yeah, and it is, and it starts. I coach in group coaching setting, which is relatively cheap, to a face-to-face coaching. Sometimes it's every week, half a day, one a day, and
I do as well.
Yeah, no, you know the approach, and in some cases I'm a board member or I'm part of the management team, and the fun part, those companies are growing 30 to 50% a year.
And I guarantee you, it's because you guys are helping them with one idea all year, right? If they just implement that one idea, you look back and realize after 3 years, I'm doing 3 things better than the other competitors.
Yeah.
Any final word, Michael, you want to say, buddy, to any small business people listening?
We certainly have to connect, no doubt. Thanks, Julie, for connecting Harm and I.
Thanks, Julie. It was great stuff.
Yeah. Okay, guys, thanks, gentlemen. I really do appreciate it.
Thanks, Joe.
Cool.
You are listening to Local Biz Now. I am Joe Wagner. You ready to try this, Michael?
The #1 live business talk show in, where were we, North Carolina?
North Carolina. Your business matters.
Business matters.
Yeah. Go ahead, Harm. You do it.
Your business matters.
Yeah. We'll see you next week.